We are live.
What's happening, fam?
Hey, what's going on, B?
Appreciate everybody tuning in. Another great week ahead. Today, we're talking to my man, Sean Sims, better known as, you pronounce that Archer, right?
Sean Archer. You want me to give you the reason, the backstory behind that?
Yeah, give me 1 second, because I got a feeling that's going to be real dope. Sean Sims. So just a little background. We grew up together in the same neighborhood. Sean was, I think, a year, 2 years ahead of me. I graduated with his brother, and all the time that I've known him, he's been an artist. So I appreciate him coming and chatting with us today. And so if you all are watching, please like, share, send us some comments. And as you put the comments in there, I will, share them with Sean if you have any questions or thoughts. But we'll jump right into this, and we'll see you Thursday as well for Brothers Pull Up and Chop, and Saturday as well. But today we have Sean here, and he's going to tell us what the Archer means in his name, because I never knew. I always saw, but I never knew what it meant. So
it's not as clever as it sounds. You familiar with the movie Face Off, right?
Yeah.
The antagonist is called Sean Archer, but in the mix, they got mixed up their characters, right? So Sean Archer and Castor Troy, during the movie, their personalities got switched, so there has a duality there. So the Sean Archer character, I took the Sean Archer and put the art in there. And so my logo is two B-boys standing back to back. It's like a duality. You know what I'm saying?
I thought it was an M.
Oh, what's going on? Oh, standing back to back.
Yeah. Okay. No.
But it plays on Face Off. So Sean Archer, you don't know if I'm Castor Troy or Sean Archer sometimes. I could be the bad guy or the good guy, when I come out,
All right. Well, let me ask you this.
Like on Face Off.
Since you took us that direction, how does that play in your art? So, because you are a visual artist, and as you can see, like, some of your work behind you is some of the work that Sean does, and check him out, and we'll give you some more information about his Instagram and other places. But how does that reflect in your art?
It depends on how I feel. I can turn it on and turn it off. I can be this person, like this ill person who want to do, exploit the negative in the world, or exploit the positive. I live under that pseudonym to do my art because it frees me up. I'm not really Sean Sims sometimes. Everybody has another personality. I just name them, so if I want to do, so I go into this mode of Sean Archer, I'm making, dropping clues in my art and dropping, just being mischievous sometimes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're really interested in things I do, you can follow little clues in things I drop. It's never, I try to never do what other people do. I know you hear that 1,000 times for other people, but I try to be different and bring something else, another angle, and try to, if I see something I like, I will take. Everybody learns from someone else. No one's above learning from someone else, first of all. And I'm always challenging myself to be better. So I'll take that, incorporate it into myself, and change up or flip the style or whatever. I don't know if I answered your question or not. I got lost in my thoughts.
Well, but you answered that like an artist would answer that. You take us a bunch of places to show us exactly what it is that you're trying to get to. That's how artists operate. They take us around the bush to get us to the tree. I love it. I love artists. You know, James Baldwin was I deal with Baldwin and Coltrane, and Baldwin was asked a question. He said, the lady said, the gentleman said, well, you know, you're a scholar. And Baldwin said, no, I'm not a scholar. I'm an artist. And because she was getting confused because Baldwin was taking her around the subject to get to his point, but she wanted him to get right to it. But, you know, Baldwin was painting this picture with words to kind of magnify what he was trying to do, because, you know, artists, as you know, and displaying your work, they paint the picture, but they never try to give you the interpretation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's up to the person to interpret it. And sometimes we are waiting to see. I think some people, some artists, some real artists, they do things to weed out the people who just like the colors or just like giving superficial comments and stuff like that. People who get it, they get it, and we hold on to them. People, we recognize those people.
That's dope.
I mean, and I'm not disrespecting anyone who likes my work and anything like that. I'm just saying, you know, that, you know, and I'm not, I cherish every good comment. So first of all, I'm not trying to be dissing nobody, but I'm just saying there's a level, a hidden level inside most artists' work that when you decipher it and you tell them that you see that's like, you know, hitting that little Mario, hitting that little square and a little flower come out. You know, you get superpowers and stuff, you know? So
right,
you know, that's what it is.
That's dope. I can because you're talking, I just hear certain things, because I hear Coltrane, how Coltrane confronts I think of McCoy Tyner's sister as they came and watched them play. And she was like, she had been there the whole night. They had played 4 sets. And she's like, oh, the last set, she's like, you all played good, that set. And he's like, well, why was this good versus the other 3 times? And like, she couldn't explain it. Coltrane said, look, when you're talking to an artist and you say something is good, be able to tell them why it is good. Exactly what you said.
Or you think it's bad. It's the same thing. It's like Little Brother said in the song "The Listening," whatever. He said, you know, the track 3 was good, something was hot, and she said one person just listened to the beats. All I like is beats.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
Thank God for night. But it's and again, if that's all you want to bring to it, it's no disrespect. That's cool. But I'm just saying there's something special when someone says, "Oh, I see your poetry in your work," or I see the colors are connecting to this, or they're trying to tell me that, or whatever. It's very enlightening. It means that, you know, you're making progress somehow. And I can't stress enough. I love everybody who loves my work. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think you do dope work. And along that line, let me ask you, because I want to get to some background of how you got into painting, but we kind of jumped in the deep water first. But let me ask you this, because I always wanted to know this. When I look at your work, why is it that you use curvy lines a lot versus real straight edge, you know, rectangles, and you tend to be a little bit more wavy and curvy and liquidy?
Music and Ernie Barnes. I think those are the 2 things that do it. Because when I'm making music, when you hear music, it doesn't have any. It's not rigid unless you listen to something like metal or something like that. You might get some rigid things out of that. But when you listen to music and you flow in, I'm just going with the vibe. And I had a good, yeah, that's what I can say.
That's dope.
I didn't even, you know what? That I did not realize I did that. I mean, and I'm looking at my stuff, and you're right. There's really no rigid lines. There's no buildings. First of all, I love the human form. First of all, because the human form is like, you know, you can tell a lot. I'm more about exaggerating the human form to get an emotional response than getting it look super realistic.
Oh, hold up. Say that part again. Exaggerating the human form to do what?
To get the emotional response than getting realistic. I mean, anybody you want realistic? I mean, again, so ultra realistic painters love them, but for me, it's I paint emotions. I try to do emotions. You know, that's what I do. So I'm not really interested in if you get a painter from me, that means you got my energy in that. You know, that my interpretation of your spirit sometimes is in there, your soul, your energy. So it's not exactly going to look realistic because that's not my point.
Man, you know, I don't know. Yeah. So how would you, if that's the case, then could you paint a picture of somebody you don't like?
Yes. What is that? I guess somebody had to trip me up. Let me say this. Emotions don't mean positive emotions. It can be negative emotions. So if I paint them, I'll probably just like I go the gamut of music. I probably listen to Slipknot or something, or Death Grips or something, you know, to get me in the mood of, you know, of the feeling, you know, of what I feel. You know, if I'm calm, you know, there's a lot of Sade, you know, a lot of Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, and just a lot of good. There's a lot of music I go through what I listen to when I'm painting, but it depends on who I'm painting, what I'm painting, and what I'm trying to relay.
Wow. That's dope. That's dope. That we could go a couple of different ways, but I'll come back to that because I want to, you know, I want you to share with us how you came to the realization that you were a painter or a visual artist. How did you come to that knowledge, that revelation?
When my second grade teacher stole my painting.
Got jacked in the second grade.
I think it's the first grade or second grade. I can't really remember, but it was of a dragon. I used to love dragons, Kiss, and you know, as a kid, you did Marvel, DC, Dragons, Kiss, you know, whatever. Something that was fly, you know, visually fly. But I was into dragons. I do this cool dragon. I still can see it in my mind, and it was awesome. I still see it. It was on some peach color paper or whatever, and it was doing all these wavy stuff. And she was like, "Oh, that's so nice. I'm going to reward you. I'm going to put it in the front of the class, and you get it back at the end of the year." And I'm looking at it every day. We go on this little portable. You know, I was the artist then. Everybody's like, "You drew that? You painted that?" I was like, "Yeah." Still, but I look at everything. I was proud. End of the year come around, nothing. She ran away with it.
She jacked you for your art.
Oh yeah, I still remember that. I see the picture vividly, and you know, it's funny now. But as a kid, I wanted my painting. You know, I did it with. I think I did it with. It wasn't really a painting. It was chalk like oil pastels or something. I call it a painting. I was a kid, but I guess people told me I was an artist before I realized I wasn't. Because I was like, you know, through my 20s and 30s, I was Mr. Club Man. You know, I wasn't really invested in my stuff of doing everything I'm supposed to do. And a light bulb came on in my late 30s, and like, okay, you got this gift, or what you gonna do with it? You know, so I was like, okay, let me try something. You know, through that period, I did a few things. You know, I jump off with a painting here and there, but I wasn't really dedicated. And so when I got in my late 30s, I made up my mind that I would try to improve myself and be who you see today. I'm still not there yet. You know, I'm building something out. Now I want to get a show out end of this year. Everything is on point with my life. I'll get a show out, you know, and I hope this will define me as who I am. So
I know we talked about this one time before about you just mentioned about practice and the importance of practice. And I talked to you and I asked you about this drawing hands and how I kept seeing you sketch out these hands, and you told me about how you hated drawing hands because that was one of the hardest parts of your drawing was drawing of hands. And I asked you about that, and you said the only way that you get better at drawing a particular body part or something is you have to practice it. Now you are a great artist, but yet you just said, I'm not there yet, and I continually practice. Say more about that.
I think if you start feeling yourself, I'm just gonna keep it like a layman form. You start feeling yourself, you start falling off. Mm-hmm. I think it's a lot I gotta learn because myself, I look on online. I see awesome work, and it inspires me. Shout out to my 2 guys I think is on my Facebook page, or I consider good artist friends. I hope I don't shred your name. Lyman Jackson and Damon Wilson. Those 2 cats, we bounce off each other, I feel. So I'm giving a shout out to them cats. So I really like their work. They think outside the box. They're Black artists, but they reach outside the box and other things and bring it in and make it their own,
Yeah.
Not just cool. So I think the cats is awesome.
Now, what do you mean when you say think outside the box? Because I'm thinking you're an artist, so you're always outside the box.
I don't think so. I think a lot of people don't think outside the box. I think a lot of people do what the wave is. I think I see a lot of stuff, good craftsmanship, but the content is just what everybody else is doing. So I mean, I get compliments on good work, but the content is just the same old stuff I'm seeing like for the last 5 years. I'm be like, okay, your craftsmanship is awesome. Color usage is awesome. But you can give compliments and still, there's levels and
right. Well, see, you're talking to someone who can't draw like that. So if I see what you call craftsmanship, I'm like, yo, that's dope. But to a cat like you that has a skill, you're looking at things that I may not have the perspective or the concept of or the thought to even notice, and you're like, yeah, they colored in the box or played it safe on that. They didn't really think outside the box because they're going with the wave.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with going with the wave. I'm going to say that. I'm almost 50 years old, so I think I'm accumulating a lot of wisdom to digress and address things that may get misinterpreted on what I said. I said there's nothing wrong. If that's what you like, that's what you do, makes you money, and that's your thing, that's your thing. But so I'm gonna kind of like go back and kind of digress on what I said on that, because artists, we're all different. We all do different things, and it's more than enough room for everybody to do what they want to do. So I'm not gonna like. But there is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I think your answer was more to my question of thinking. What does it mean to think outside the box? It wasn't that you had a disagreement with, because I was thinking I'm thinking all art is outside the box. That was more what my question was. But you were clarifying for me and did clarify to me
some things are commercial.
That's what I'm looking for. Okay, yeah,
and inside the box and safe, and so some things are more commercial.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. So,
right.
I mean, because it's a little more than enough room for people to do what they want to do. So,
yeah.
Okay.
So in this current movement, current environment and climate that we're in, how has that pushed you, galvanized you, or pulled you back in your art?
first of all, I like to say I've always been that person that, you know, that was all about the, you know, the conflicts in politics, conflicts in, you know, life and love and stuff. I've always been that guy. Mm-hmm. So when things are coming up, just, you know, it just changes season. You know, the world, I mean, time is like seasons, man. You know, we go through a time where it's good to be this, good to be that. This is in, this is out, you know, but I've always been that person who is always into the emotions of whatever. Repeat the question. I'm getting lost in
No. And I was just saying, how has the time in the climate of today, you know, either galvanized you and pushed you or urged you to create, or has, you know, pulled you away from creating?
Made me pull back a little bit. Pull back a little bit and just take another direction and just sit on a lot of things, because you can make a lot of mistakes when you it's almost a conflict in what I'm saying, because I was talking about emotion earlier, but when you lead with your emotions without, you know, checking your emotions, you can get in trouble. So,
oh man, boy, so, look here. You know, I'm a preacher, so that right there, son, is bananas. Because to me, I'm one who believe artists change the direction of any movement. Whether that's, I mean, you look at the Black Panthers, they had an artist with them to document everything they were doing. You know, whether it was a painter or a pencil,
the visuals.
They had visual. They had a camera. They had all that to kind of say, hey, this is what we're doing. And when you look at their art, it speaks volumes. And so when you say, look, I have to pull back a little bit, because if I start creating this art, it becomes, as Toni Morrison says, art becomes dangerous. Or she says art is dangerous. And
it's a weapon. I mean, information is a weapon. Words are a weapon. Art is a weapon. You can use it. You can use it to inflict, you know, things on, you know, emotions, and emotions drive people to do things. So you got, you know, I hate to say this because it's very cliche, but with great power comes great responsibility. I mean, It's just truth in them words. So you go out there, you see something on television that you didn't like, and you start making things that you live in, inside, i.e. inside your feelings, saying things about people that you really don't mean, but you put it out there at that moment. You can't take it back. You inflicted some pain on somebody, so you really have to think about things before you do them. I mean, I've seen things on TV, I've seen things online, you know, that made me, you know, got my temperature up. But I sit back and I say, okay, in the morning, will I feel that way? Say no. If I still feel that way, I go with it. But if I don't, I say I'm glad I didn't. So,
but you won't pick up your paintbrush in that moment.
No, I mean, wow. I probably did in my 20s, but now if I see something, I say, okay, what is everybody doing? I'm gonna look and see what everybody's doing. Everybody doing the same thing. Then I'll wait.
No, that's something, man. That's something. Because what I'm specifically talking about Baldwin and Coltrane, but more specifically Baldwin. You know, in his most, the typewriter was a place of anguish for him. You know what I mean? It was, and a place of solace. You know, when he needed to get away, he went to the typewriter. But he also found that the typewriter brought him so much pain because it was the place where he would release his most inner thoughts.
It's the same thing. I'm not a psychologist, or I'm not a scholar in that field, but when they say, when someone did, you know, commit abuse to someone, or someone has hurt them, they say write a letter, because the most intimate thing you can do is sit down and think or get on that and put something on paper or pen. I mean, put something on paper or visually put something down and you put the energy in, you write, you think about it. It makes you think about every little line, every little curve, everything you putting on there, which, you know, and it means that much. And you can put down anything you want to say. But that don't mean you have to go and say it. They just say write it down. What makes you angry. You have to get it out somewhere. That don't mean you have to share it with everybody. But you have to release it.
Right.
Now, there's some things I've done, I just painted over.
Oh, really?
You know, because yeah.
Wow.
Because when I, you know, a couple of days later, I said, okay, that's not cool.
Wow.
That's just some kiddie stuff. You was in your feelings too much. It's okay to be in your feelings sometime, but don't dwell in there and that be the driving force of your thing. You gotta use some, you know, some guardrails to keep you on track and pull back a little bit and say, look, what can I do to make this better, or tone it down or something like that. Or if it's irrelevant, get rid of it.
Wow. Man, that's some that's dope. That's some real, I don't even have a word for it right now. You left me a little speechless. Because and this is me as a fan of artists, if I am left with the interpretation, or the one who is left to interpret your art, I'm thinking you will want me to see it. But in you being the responsible artist, you're saying no.
But at the same, let me respond to that real quick before I forget. At the same time, we're our own worst critic. We may be destroying a masterpiece. We don't know that.
Oh.
I mean, you know, it's a you know, touch and go game. You know, you could, and you right. Maybe you put it out there to be the best thing in the world. Maybe you put it out there to be the thing that defines you as a cornball or some kind of an asshole. You don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chance you take, but it's on you. It's on the artist to say, okay, that's not good. I'm gonna paint over it. But there's always someone to say, oh, that's your best work. So you're always in, like Dante's Inferno, you know, in purgatory, you know, is this good enough? Somebody says it's bad. I say it's good. They say it's bad. They say it's good. I say it's bad. You know, it's like you're in purgatory. Can't escape this ongoing thing of emotions of how can, you know, what is the end result? How is supposed to be the end result? Sometimes you just say, F it. But it just depends on, I don't know. You change. And I think everybody, that's the beauty of being a human being. You change. You know, 5 years from now, I might say all my work is based on anger. But that's the beauty of being a human being. Right now, at the state I'm in right now, I'm more careful and very responsible for what I put out. You know, and I kind of like look over it, kind of like keeping it in some kind of realm. Like, right. Who knows where I'll be in 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Might be the most offensive stuff you've seen in ever, you know? But that's the beauty of being a human being. You can change your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but right now, at this moment, I'm very careful. If you see a independent painting that's not a portrait or anything, I'm very careful when I'm trying to say, or this is a very definite thing I'm trying to say. So.
Oh man, that was yeah, you got me I'm pondering over here because I'm trying to think of and listen, but I'm also a fan of artists and the way the artist's mind works is something that fascinates me because artists don't think like regular folk, because you know, as King Lo says, I got two minds that think at the same time. So I come up with two different parallel thoughts. You know, he said that in a freestyle.
That's why
artists think like that. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I adopted that logo, you know, the duality and
right.
Two mindsets, and no one is one person. No one is like always that person all the time. It's, you know, and it's I just, adopted a new persona just to push me through some of the things I go through as far as my art and stuff. So go ahead.
No, I'm
go
sorry.
Ahead.
No, I was
done. I was done.
So where does the artist fit in the midst of, the political, this political activist role as you see it? Because I know where you stand on a lot of your political thoughts and with a lot of the things that have been going on, and we've talked about it. I know we talked one time before, and you told me how Public Enemy influenced your art and continues to influence your art.
Chuck D is the reason why that snapped me out of being lack of a better word, a buffoon. As far as what I say, it encouraged me to be a better person. Mm-hmm. As far as, because he's a graphic artist, he's an artist too. That's a visual artist.
Right.
He designed his logo, and that logo, I was so fascinated with that logo, and everything he did was planned from the beginning to incorporate, nice designs and colors and things like that into their movement. So it woke me up, and I was like, okay, this cat, I don't say this cat, this guy, he was like giving me, saying, look, this is a way you can be and be responsible and be someone about, learning about black, the black, yourself, being a black man and stuff like that. It made me want to, get educated, get better at, my art and my what's the word? Just learn more.
Right.
Made me want to do out the lines of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and, and just the basic things. And it kind of opened my mind, and I give it all to him. I know everybody say, I'm also influenced by the Renaissance and all this stuff like that, and Ernie Barnes and other artists, but Chuck D really set me off to be a better artist. I'm just going to be honest.
Right.
The music, the designs, everything, the whole thing. It just made me just want to be something else.
Don't worry. It made me want to be something else too.
And that's a beautiful thing. That the people just don't understand. You have to be there from, conception of the beauty of when that movement came. When Chuck D, when they dropped It Takes a Nation of Millions.
Yeah.
I cannot describe it, just an emotion.
Yep.
And it just woke me up. It just made me want to be better. And that's what that's why I want to at the end game, I want to be someone who makes someone better.
Yeah.
I make mistakes, I'm a human, but that's my whole goal, to inspire somebody to make someone better. And that's the main reason to be on this planet, to inspire, make someone better.
That's dope. Well, man, I have one more question, and this is like my standing question for everybody that's going to come on this show, or you will be booted off instantly if you can't answer this question.
Where you booed at?
This is my question. Before we go, I need your top 5.
Oh,
the top 5. I need your top 5 MCs. Not in rank.
You gave me that question 5. Like a week ago, huh?
No, that's the whole point. Yeah,
huh?
You got to go up the dome. Give me top 5, because I'm going to be honest. The top 5 all constantly switches according to how the day is going. So give me your top 5.
So right now, at this moment, top 5 MCs. All right. Not in any order. Do I have to get it in order?
No.
Just 5.
Top 5.
That I think is really, really dope. Nas, of course.
Nas, right.
I'm gonna have to give it to someone who don't get a lot of good play, but I think Fonte is very underrated.
Okay, yeah. I can feel you on that one.
I'm gonna put him honorable mention. Fonte is honorable mention. Dude, come on, man. Why you hit me with this question?
It's the last one. Top 5. You gave me 2 because you can't come up with 5, so we're gonna put Fonte in there. You got 3 more.
Okay, Fonte. And if you didn't tell me this, I could just be like sounding off. I'm gonna have to give my man Chuck D, man. Chuck D
gets it. He gets it.
Okay.
That's 3.
I just know it's somebody I really like, and I'm gonna leave him off.
That's all right.
Chuck D, Fonte. You know what? I'm gonna Rhapsody. I'm gonna put Rhapsody up in there. I love Rhapsody now.
Rhapsody gets
okay. At this moment, Rhapsody is hot.
Rhapsody is Money in the Bank. Last one.
Through it. Big Daddy Kane.
Okay, BDK. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we got your top 5. Your official
and you know,
top 5.
that's my top 5 right now. So
tomorrow it could be different. Mine change quite frequently. Black Thought is always on mine. So regardless of what, Black Thought is hot, man. He's been on my top 5 for a long time, but he's always so yeah, man. I appreciate you having this conversation. We're gonna have to come back and do this again because there's some lot of deep things that you said. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this and sit with some of the things you said because we'll have to come back in a couple of weeks or so and do a part 2 of this because this conversation after we look at it and other folks, because I'm gonna get some questions, I'm sure. From folks about some of the things you said because you really unpack some things for me as I work through some of the things. So I appreciate your wisdom, man, and your skill. Tell folks where they can find you and chime in at.
Right now, I'm just on the basics, Facebook and Instagram. So I'm working on my website, and like I said, I'm trying to get a show up by the end of the year. So right now, I'm on the big.
What's your Instagram handle?
Oh. Probably Sean Archer. Let me see. Sean
Archer, okay.
My grandpa's shades. Let me see.
I'll post it.
I am SEAN capital ARTCHUR.
Cool. Well, brother, we appreciate you, Sean. People out Sean.
I wish you would. Go ahead. I wish we would have got into because we was talking about because America. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into it. And I you started hitting me on some other things that was so deep. I was like, man, I can't move from this because you unpack some things just from an artist standpoint that I think needs to be. We'll chop that up at another time because I seen you do some work on that too. So we'll chop it, but I will get with that one. But
okay. Whenever you want me to come back, I'll come back.
Yeah. It's going to be soon. It's going to be soon because we need to really unpack this, do a part 2. So I appreciate you for coming through, brother.
Okay.
So everybody that tuned in, we appreciate it. Just remember to always survive, cultivate joy, resist, and stay dope. Peace.
Amen.